And good afternoon and welcome to today's pregame show for tonight's men's volleyball pack semifinal matchup between the Hiram Terriers and your Teal College Tomcats. Ben Collins and Rob Doyle are with you here today as we prepare to talk about tonight's game. Rob, we have another intriguing matchup for men's volleyball.
Yeah, absolutely right. And this is the second time these two have met throughout this season. So last time, Teal played Hiram at home earlier in March, and Teal gave Hiram the business. It was a sweep. It's March 28th. Oh, well, no, actually, they played them twice this year. So they played them in Hiram, swept them on the road 3-0 at home, swept them March 4th. So Teal, I mean, if you're counting total sets, 6-0 against Hiram so far. So Teal kind of has that overwhelming advantage. Hiram's going to have to be on their best playing ability to have a shot against Teal tonight.
Hiram comes into this game a record of 9-13. They're 4-8 in the pack. They got the 5 seed. Pulled off the upset on the road on Tuesday against Grove City. A 5-set win for Hiram against the reigning pack runner-ups in Grove City. Tomcats' last game was on April 3rd where they beat Bethany 3-2. They got the bye in the quarterfinal. They will be hosting this semifinal matchup as the 1 seed. Henry Gordon in his first season as the Tomcats head coach, a record of 21-8 for Hiram. Kyle Martini in his first season, 9-13, making it to the semifinals, taking on the Tomcats. First meeting between these two was in 2018. Tomcats lead the all-time series 10-7 with 5-2 at home and 4-1 at Hiram. Hiram leads the series in a neutral site 4-1 though. But fortunately, we're playing in Beagley Gymnasium. We are not going to be in a neutral site. That was the last time Hiram beat the Tomcats, was a neutral site February the 8th of last year.
The neutral sites kill us a little bit. And you saw, earlier on in the season when we went to those tournaments, right? Neutral sites kind of got us a bit. But, this team has gotten hot when it's needed to. And, the game against Bethany, like we were kind of talking about before, right? They kind of rested their starters. So the game against St. Vincent was kind of the marquee matchup. And that game was full of drama, back and forth, sets being won, sets being lost. Teal won the final 2 sets, sets 4 and 5. So those were just both absolutely electric. And Ezra Osterling posted 27 kills in that matchup. So arguably his best performance of the entire season. Also had big performances from Caleb Proudfoot, Will Zimmerman. Proudfoot with 12 kills, Zimmerman with 10. So, for a win for Teal tonight is going to consist of more of their guys, playing really well. Zimmerman, Proudfoot, Osterling, even having big performances from guys like Gio Schwalm and things like that. Having the big guys step up in moments like this is going to help Teal out tremendously.
There's been a lot of games the Tomcats have played this season with national implications. First, a 3-1 loss to Wittenberg, a 3-0 loss to Misericordia, a 3-1 loss to number 7 Messiah. Their first win against a nationally ranked opponent was against St. John's Fisher on January 31st. Also beat Roanoke, who was receiving votes. Beating Buffalo State, who at the time was number 17 in the nation, at Buffalo State. They lost at home, getting a big win there. Also, their biggest win of the season was against number 12 Baldwin Wallace. We were on the call for that game. Dude, absolutely electric.
That game was crazy. But I mean, I think that was everything that this team they just played everything they needed to be great, and that's why they have the chance to be great, not only in the pack, but if they win the pack, heading on to the end of the national tournament, is that they have the ability to go 4-5 sets and win those kind of matchups. So when games go to 5 sets, I think they've won just about every single matchup this year. Every game that goes into set 5, Teal has walked away with the victory. So they proved that they have the ability to go the distance, right? And that is an important feature, especially in playoff time. So they're going to have to go 5 sets probably again, whether it could be tonight, it could be whoever they end up playing in the championship, if they can beat Hiram tonight. But they got to be able to go the distance. But they've showed the ability to do that so far this year.
And this is a title defense for the Tomcats. Won the pack a year ago. Did not lose a pack game last season. Did not lose a set in the tournament last year, beating St. Vincent and also beating Grove City in those conference tournament games. They fell to, I believe it was St. John's Long Island, I believe, in the national tournament.
Yeah, I think
hosted by Southern Virginia.
Yeah.
But again, this team has the capabilities to go back to the national tournament and to potentially make some more noise. They lost 3-1 in the national tournament last year. They have the potential to do much better things this year. And, we've talked about some of the key players. Who are your key players for the tournament for the Tomcats?
I mean, in this tournament, I kind of we mentioned 3 of them in that game against St. Vincent, right? But I think for sure, Ezra Osterling, Caleb Proudfoot, those 2 have to be on. But, if you're a team and you know that those are the 2 players, you're going to try to take those guys away. So Bryce Lanzanich is a guy I'm really looking at to have a huge tournament, right? Another one of those middle blockers that Teal has. I think he's going to step up and have an absolutely huge performance. T.O. Schwalm also had a career night against Baldwin Wallace, and I think that he's up for another one in the tournament, right? You got to have depth in the tournament. And you can't forget the other guys as well, like Ben Lowell, Eli Ozoka. These are our guys that are setting up our hitters. Those guys have to be on their best game. If they're not setting the hitters up in the best possible way, then we're not going to be able to have anything. So having Ozoka, having Lowell playing at a high level along with the liberos and Pugh and Hovan, those guys have to play at their best. So it really is a big team effort. But Lanzanich is a guy that you expect to step up. He's stepped up in big moments this year. I think he's going to step up once again in the playoffs.
And one more guy that I really have my eye on is Will Zimmerman. I think Will Zimmerman, the power he has on his serves is phenomenal, and he's going to be a big part of this. Has to knock down his serves, has to find the spacing and the placement of his serves to really get some points for the Tomcats and to pull away from this team. Will Zimmerman, he is the career record in aces. He has over 100. He sits at 113, set the record with his 95th against Geneva on February the 20th. He was 113 on the year. I mean, it's only climbing from there. So this is huge for these guys, especially to get their serves. A couple guys have struggled a little bit with their serves. Bryce Lanzanich, you see him throughout the season switch up his serves to maybe provide less of a power serve and more of just getting it over the net and setting things up defensively. Yes, that's really what he's been doing much better at as the season's gone on. But, a couple other guys we could talk about. Brandon Gala has had a nice season as well. You've talked about the liberos for both teams. Ben Lowell as well. Those guys are going to be really nice. And Tyler Hussey also. Tyler Hussey, Ben Lowell, they check in off the bench. They check in together, and they are going to be major players on this team throughout the tournament. And, it should be a really fun tournament. At Manpaw Court, Tomcats are 4-0 in their last 4 home postseason matchups. That includes 2 from last season, 1 from 2 years ago, and 1 from 2023. The Tomcats are really strong at home. They have just 2 home losses on the year, those being to St. Vincent and to Buffalo State. They're very strong at home. We talked about those Raptors are unforgiving.
Yeah, no, I mean, they're unforgiving to the opponents, right? I mean, we use them to our advantage for sure, right? But the game against St. Vincent was kind of Teal at its worst, pretty much. I mean, they just came out flat, didn't have everything to go. Granted, Proudfoot also was dealing with some injuries that game as well, so that could have been a huge factor into why that game didn't pan out the way they wanted it to. But just came out flat, just didn't have a chance to respond despite the strong start that St. Vincent had. So, they can't have that tonight against Hiram. You've got to start fast, you've got to finish fast, you got to make sure that this game is taken care of so you guys have a chance to rest rolling into Saturday if you can get the victory tonight.
And talk about the other side of the bracket. St. Vincent, the 2 seed, will be taking on Chatham. The only other team besides the Tomcats to beat St. Vincent was Chatham, and that was ultimately the difference maker in the 1 seed battle. We beat Chatham twice. St. Vincent beat them once. That's a very intriguing matchup that we'll have our eye on all night tonight to see who the Tomcats will be playing on Saturday. And, again, for hosting a PAC championship, hosted it last year, it is huge because the atmosphere, the energy
it's different
in the gym is going to be insane. The amount of support that they pack the gym every single night they play. It is going to be a packed atmosphere both today and should we win on Saturday as well. It is going to be a phenomenal atmosphere and energy for the Tomcats and for everyone there. Hope everyone can make it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Whoa.
And Baby Jeremy says it's time to wrap it up.
It's time for us to do this.
So with that, we will be sending it off Tonight at 7 p.m., myself and Riley Levin will be on the call for the Teal and Hiram semifinals of the PAC men's volleyball tournament. Tonight at 7 p.m. at Beagley Gymnasium. Hope everybody can make it. We will see you at 7 p.m.
Roll Cats.